and 2 fights in the cards here at the Halifax Forum. Dan Robertson and Stephen Brunt back with you again, and at the very least, I suppose those 2 fights getting folks warmed up for what's to come. We're about to see Jonah Arbuckle versus Juan Sanchez, but to look down the road a little bit, Andrew Singh Kooner, I'm really anxious to see him fight in his last fight in London. He delivered a vicious knockout punch to Gavin Reed. I'm not sure if that's what he's all about, but he's going to take on Jason Hayward here tonight.
It's one of the knockouts of the year, people are saying, and it's all over YouTube. It's been thousands and thousands of hits. It was a great punch, and Andrew Singh Kooner's an up-and-comer, no question.
And Dan Robertson and Stephen Brunt with you ringside here at Night of Champions at the Halifax Forum. And up next, Steve, one of the co-main events, Jason Hayward and Andrew Singh Kooner for the vacant Canadian bantamweight title. We talked about it off the top, but you like what you've seen out of Kooner so far as a pro?
Yeah, I do. He has a loss on his record, which was a big shock to people. It came early in his career, and it was obviously a mistake in terms of matchmaking and building his record. But these are 2 guys who crossed over as Canadian amateurs in 2000 on the way to the Olympics and have gone very different paths. Andrew Singh Kooner ended up representing Canada at 2 Olympics in 2000 and 2004. He beat Jason Hayward for the Canadian Championship in 2000. And since that last Olympics, since turning pro, Kooner has gone to England. He's fought mostly in England. He's being managed by a big promotional company, Hennessy, who have a lot of fighters. They're moving him towards a Canadian title, they hope, tonight, then a Commonwealth title, then a British title, and you can tell that there's just an aura of professionalism and money around him right now. There are people in the boxing business who think he has a big future. Jason Hayward competing out of St. John's, Newfoundland, that's a tough place to be a professional fighter. It's tough to get training, it's tough to get sparring partners, and he's had to fight the tough uphill battle because of where he comes from. He's here tonight saying if he loses, he's going to retire, he's going to throw in the towel, and you can understand the frustration. So he's at a disadvantage, a tremendous disadvantage, just walking into the ring tonight compared to Andrew Kooner and the preparation and the backing and the support that he's had coming this far.
And Hayward said, I think I'm in good physical shape, but again, he hasn't sparred, he hasn't had a trainer, so you have to wonder how that will affect him here tonight. It's
going to be really tough. It's very tough to come into a fight this important, a title fight, without sparring. How can you do that? He has so many things going against him, but he's got a great beating heart. He's a brave guy, and this is an opportunity for him. It's a big opportunity, and I emotionally, he's going to be in the right place. You just hope that physically he's going to be in the right place.
Take us through the rules here for this bantamweight bout between Andrew Singh Kooner and Jason Hayward.
Well, they have waived the 3 knockdown rule tonight, so that the fight will not automatically be stopped if one fighter is down three times. The 10-point must system, which most fight fans are familiar with, 10-9 is a standard round, 10-8 if there's one knockdown or it's a decisive round. Occasionally you see a 10-7 round. There is no standing 8 count, so the referee can't intervene unless the fighter goes down. In the event of an accidental injury, which we're talking mostly about a headbutt, if the fight has gone 4 rounds, they will go to the cards, and it'll be a technical decision depending on the scorecards. If the injury, of course, before 4 rounds and the fight is stopped because of a cut or an injury, it will be declared a technical draw. So 4 rounds is the over-under in terms of whether it's a fight, an official fight, or whether it's a technical draw.
Well, let's take a look at these 2 fighters head-to-head. Andrew Kooner and Jason Hayward. Hayward on your right. And 30 years old, 5'7", 118 pounds. As similar in stats when you look at the tail of the tape. 28-year-old Andrew Singh Kooner looking to improve to 8-1. We'll see if that happens when we come back from the Halifax Forum. You're watching a Night of Champions on Eastlink Television.
He weighed in at 117.2 pounds.
I'm in great condition, ready to go 10 rounds if necessary, 12, or 13, 14, 15, whatever it is. But the bottom line is I'm here for one thing, and that's one thing only, is to win that Canadian title by knockout.
Andrew Kooner, 7-1 out of Mississauga. So Jason Hayward winning the coin toss, I guess, electing to come down last to the ring in this fight.
So I'm going to put it all on the line because I have to win this title if I want to succeed and move on in boxing. I have to win this title. If I don't win this title, you know, it's another step back, and it's not good.
So as Jason Hayward comes to the ring, he did add one caveat to his statement yesterday. He said, if I lose, I'm done, unless Tyson Cave wants to fight me somewhere down the road. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Well, that's an interesting possibility. You have to get Tyson Cave back in the ring for that to happen, though.
Hayward coming in at 118 pounds. 4-5 as a pro, 76-16 as an amateur. And I know as much as you love Newfoundland, but he made a good point. It's not exactly the hot spot if you want to be a boxer.
It's tough. It's always tough being out of the mainstream and away from, especially with sparring and guys his size. It's hard to find good sparring in any case, and so much of a fighter's preparation involves being able to compete in the gym against the right kind of people. It's very, very tough. It's been a disadvantage for a lot of Canadian fighters over the years, but especially it's a disadvantage if you're in St. John's, where there's no real boxing community.
Andrew Kooner, as an amateur, 110 wins and 20 losses. And we mentioned earlier about, as you said, you can find it on YouTube, that devastating knockout of Gavin Reed in London in February. Not sure if that's his normal MO, but he certainly landed a good right hand with that punch.
Well, it was. I don't think he had really had much of a reputation as a puncher in the professional ranks, but that is something you have to develop if you want to be marketable. You have to be able to punch, and that was a big step. And guys do develop power later in their careers sometimes as they grow.
You're under the rules of the Canadian Boxing Federation. Burn my commands at all times and protect yourself at all times. Touch them up, bell rings, come out fighting.
I wonder, you see the likes of Kooner. I mentioned Hayward and Cave, maybe Kooner and Cave somewhere down the road. However, as it stands now, the vacant Canadian bantamweight title on the line between Jason Hayward, too cool he calls himself, saw the big shades as he walked down the aisle to the ring, against Kooner, a 10-time Canadian champ, 2-time Olympian in 2000 and 2004. So great experience for him.
He has a terrific amateur background, and that does make a difference. It does. If guys can turn pro with that kind of experience fighting all over the world as he did, it does help.
So here we go, the first of a possible 10 rounds. Kooner in the black with the orange trim, and Hayward in white. Left hand early from Kooner.
You see Kooner's hand speed there. He's very, very quick.
Hayward trying to counter with a left hook. Almost slapping his punches at Kooner so far is Hayward. And we talked about it. Hayward saying, I'm in good shape, but I'm not sure if I'm in good boxing shape, as Kooner tries to go low on him that time.
Real feeling out round. These guys, of course, have fought as amateurs once, just once in 2000, and obviously a lot's changed. A pretty good left hook there from Andrew Kooner.
Yeah, indeed. 8 years ago, a lot of water under the bridge. I asked Hayward about that. He said, I don't really remember all that much about that fight, to be honest.
It was close. I think it was a close decision for Kooner.
I think 7-4 was the final tally.
Kooner's slipping. He's throwing some nice body shots in this round, and those things they'll pay off if this fight does go a little bit of a distance. But there's the first offense from Jason Hayward.
Nice combination there on Kooner. Both fighters pretty quick hands, it appears, here in round one. Combination, you can see a pretty Good economical punches from Andrew Kooner.
And he has dropped 4 or 5 punches. You can see the reddening on Hayward's left side there. That's a vulnerable spot. He's trying to bring Hayward's hands down by hitting him to the body and to wear him out, especially, as I said, if this fight goes 10 rounds, that will make a difference.
Good right there from Hayward, following a bit of a Kooner flurry. Entertaining first part of round 1. There's a left from Kooner.
And a winging right hand, but it did get through the guard.
Tried to load up on that one. Bit of a roundhouse right there from Kooner.
But again, he started that combination with a body punch, and that is his MO here. And there's another one.
And as you said, to the left side of Jason Hayward. So they get tied up in the final seconds of what was an entertaining round 1 between Andrew Singh Kooner and Jason Hayward. How did you score that one?
I gave that round to Kooner 10-9 based on that effective body work. Hayward had a couple of little flurries there and did some good work, but I thought really that it was Kooner's round. And you can see his strategy is to feel out Hayward and to start kind of picking him apart. It's very clinical what he's doing. He's very smart. He's very well trained. He's working with Chris Johnson these days, another former Canadian Olympian, bronze medalist in the Olympics in Barcelona, and who's also the trainer of Steve Molitor, very, very promising up-and-coming Canadian fighter. But you can see the work there. That was a well thought out round by Kooner. You know, Hayward had his moments, but Andrew Kooner obviously has a game plan going in here.
As we listen into the final seconds in both corners, set for round 2. And again, Kooner trying to go to the left rib area of Hayward with that right hand. Good left there. So Kooner appears to have a pretty good game plan in the early going.
No, I'm very impressed with Kooner so far. I think he's shown a lot here in his evolution as a professional fighter.
There's a swinging left followed by a right.
That stung Hayward a little bit. He's acting as though it didn't, but it did sting him a little bit.
So referee Hubert Earl will send them to corners.
Same with Hubert's looking. I think he's got a little excessive, maybe a little too much Vaseline on his face, so he's getting that cleaned off.
And he came out swinging to resume round 2. And you do have to wonder, as Kooner continues to try to go to the lower left side, when that will become a factor to make him drop that left hand.
He's already aware of it. You can see Hayward flinch a little bit on that last one and see there's what's going to happen.
Kooner missing with a right uppercut.
He's going to feint to the body and start bringing stuff up to the head.
Combination there again from Kooner. So he set the pace here in the first 2 rounds.
And I don't think Jason Hayward can keep taking those body shots all night. I don't think that's not a winning strategy for him tonight. He needs to land something significant here to change the rhythm of this fight. Because right now, even though Hayward's coming forward, Kooner is dictating the fight.
Looked like a strong right from Hayward that time. Kooner, some tight defense there. As we said, Kooner fought in England as recently as February. We might see him there again in the not too distant future.
He has interesting possibilities, much in the same way as Lennox Lewis did. He was born in England and then grew up in Canada. So he's eligible to fight for a Canadian title, as he is tonight. He's eligible to fight for the Commonwealth title, as they want to do very soon. And he's also eligible to fight for the British title, the Lonsdale belt. So when he's in England, I guess they introduce him as being from England and from Canada. So he has a myriad of possibilities right now before they take him to the world level, which would be the next step after that.
Can you see that in his future? Do you think he has that in him?
I think he has a lot of potential. It's a very tough weight class. It's a tough place to be, but he's showing me a lot tonight.
Under 30 seconds to go here in the second round. Hayward trying to answer with jabs of his own.
And I think he's got to do that. He's got to use his reach and get that jab out there.
Actually, under 10 seconds to get things squared away. We had that brief break early on. And that will do it for the end of round 2. So Andrew Singh Kooner continuing to take the fight to Jason Hayward. And we will take a break and be back with round 3 from the Halifax Forum. You're watching Eastlink Television. Show you some of the action from round 2 as Kooner goes on the offense early on.
Pretty good looping right hand at the end of that combination, but Hayward covered up relatively well. Most of the good work that Kooner's done so far has been to the body and on the inside.
Yeah, I've been impressed just as a neophyte to watch him put his punches together here. See what he's doing to Hayward, trying to set him up, as you mentioned. Hayward footwork not great that time as he tried to land.
No, and Jason was kind of slapping with those punches. They were kind of they weren't. He wasn't turning them over.
There's a good right from Kooner.
Overhand right, and that stung Hayward. Hayward's hurt.
Down to his knee he goes. Bit of a delayed reaction, but yeah, he caught him flush.
5, 6, 7.
So Hayward back to his feet.
Let's see how Kooner closes here.
Hayward trying to answer with a left. Keeps going back to the rib area.
But you see him. This is very clever from Kooner. He had to figure out how hurt Hayward was. Hayward's still in decent shape here, and so he settled down. He went back to working the body. Hayward actually landed a pretty good combination right there. But Kooner didn't get over anxious after the knockdown, and he's back into his fight plan here.
Yeah, it was interesting when Hayward went down. It looked like he was in trouble, but just seemed to take a breath and then hop right back up.
Well, it was a good idea to take that knee at that point.
The right from Hayward trying to land there. Again to the body.
You heard Hayward scream when that body shot landed. That was a tremendous shot from Kooner.
Hayward trying to keep himself in it. That was a devastating blow.
Now Hayward's in survival mode, and it's going to be very tough for him to get through this round. He's got a minute to go. I don't know that he's hurt, and there's another body shot. Kooner's going to punish him now. See those body shots.
Not much behind Hayward's punches right now.
I tell you, he's showing a lot of courage to hang in here right now.
Really is. You can see him mentally pull himself together after that last knockdown.
It's just, you see him lift his leg from that body shot. You can see how that's a sign that a fighter's hurt. He's absolutely brutalizing to the body.
And again with the same area. Hayward with a left to the face of Kooner, with not doing any damage. I think if Hayward can get through this round, you have to give him credit for it.
It's really tough to come back from that kind of an assault to the body, though. That takes something out of a fighter that you don't get back in the break between rounds.
And again to the lower rib area on the left side of Jason Hayward. So a terrific round for Andrew Singh Kooner. A couple of knockdowns, one early and then one with a brutal blow to the body of Jason Hayward.
And I'm scoring that a 10-7 round because of the two knockdowns and because of the dominance, the absolute dominance of Kooner. There's the right hand that hurt Hayward initially. Kind of a delayed reaction knockdown, but it was a beautiful shot. Overhand right, and you see Hayward is hurt. He goes down and takes the count, which was a good idea. But those, again, people, you can see his face there. We heard him screaming here at ringside from that body shot. This is going to be a very, very tough. And we talked earlier, Dan, about all of the obstacles that Hayward had getting into the ring tonight. How he hasn't been able to train properly for this fight. It takes a lot of courage at this stage to get off that stool and to come back out knowing what's facing you. You got to. Fighters are more courageous than most of us.
Oh, and you can see it right now. I mean, he knows he could potentially be in some trouble here as we move to the 4th round. But he's not throwing in any towel. So Andrew Singh Kooner, can he finish it here in round 4? And a bit of a false start.
Yeah, Hayward Earl again is trying to get some of that excess Vaseline off of Kooner's forehead before they go on.
So now we're set for round 4 of 10. After that round, you wouldn't think it would go that long. That left hook coming from Kooner. Backs him into the corner now. There's a right from Hayward trying to find his way. He really hasn't done much since the 1st round.
Well, and there wasn't much on that shot at this point. And again, those body shots just take something out of a fighter. He's not going to be the same guy he was when he started this fight. And Kooner's being very, very patient here, very methodical.
Yeah, instead of potentially opening up, you know, a return from Hayward, as you said after the 1st knockdown, he gauged the situation and maintained his patience.
I think he's shown great maturity here for a young fighter in the way he's handled himself. It's easy to get excited and after a knockdown especially and go a bit wild and get reckless. But he has been absolutely by the book. Chris Johnson's done a great job training him, it's clear. And he's fighting the same fight now that he fought starting the 1st round. And there's those body shots again. That one was a little bit low, the left hook.
Hayward Earl telling him that. And Hayward's not able to generate any power at all with his punches. Looping right from Kooner. Minute 20 to go in the 4th round. Kooner has him in trouble now potentially, but nothing comes of that.
But when he covers his head like that, Kooner's going to be quite happy to hit him to the body.
I would think Hayward might take one to the head right now as opposed to that rib area again. He'll be hurting for some time after this one.
Another brutal body shot there.
40 seconds to go in the round. There it is again.
Kooner brought the uppercut behind the right hand of the body.
Hayward gets swung around a bit that time.
I'll give Hayward a lot of credit here, boy. Fighters have to make a choice sometimes.
Yeah.
He made a choice to continue fighting here, and he is trying his heart out right now to get back into this fight. Not a bad little counter right hand from Hayward.
Kooner trying to land late, and Jason Hayward gets through the 4th round as Andrew Singh Kooner continues to dominate. He's looking for the vacant Canadian bantamweight title. How do you have the score so far?
Well, it's a shutout for Kooner, and of course the big 3rd round, the 10-7 round. So he has a comfortable lead in this fight. One of the interesting things in that round, every time Chris Johnson, we can hear him from ringside here, was calling, "Show me the body shot." Every time Kooner responded and gave his trainer what he wanted. He's a really disciplined fighter, and he's following his instructions to a T. Now you see, Hayward did a better job there getting his elbows down and trying to block those body shots, but it's tough. And there's the right uppercut coming up through the guard from the body shot. Eventually those hands are going to come down. At the very least, Jason Hayward's hands are going to start to drop from fatigue, from pain, and that's when you'll see Kooner go upstairs and try and finish the fight.
Rick McDonald over in Jason Hayward's makeshift corner. As we continue here in this 10-round affair, on to round 5. Hayward with a pretty good right hand, all things considered.
Yeah, snuck a right lead in there and it landed flush.
It has to be tough, though, for Kooner, I would think, or any fighter to remain patient when you have your opponent on the ropes like he does.
I think it's the hardest thing in the world. You get excited naturally. You get encouraged. Your confidence goes up, and you see how often it happens that fighters take chances in those circumstances, and the other guy has a little more left than they thought, and they get caught and get hurt. But I've been very, very impressed with Kooner's discipline in this fight, with the fact that he has remained inside the fight plan just about every second so far.
Combination coming from him as he drives Hayward back to the ropes. Missing with a wild right that time was Kooner.
And there's some better. Hayward moving his feet a little bit better there. Countered. And now taking the offensive.
Hayward now trying to take it to Kooner.
Good for Jason Hayward, I'll tell you. Coming back from what he has already in this fight.
Look, I'm surprised he can mount any offense at this point. See, though, he doesn't appear to be breathing too heavily, and it's a guy who keeps himself in good shape. Kooner again missing with a bit of a wild right hand there.
Hayward doing a much better job this round covering up.
Kooner to the body and then to the head.
Yeah, that body shot hurt him again.
Kooner trying to land from in tight. Hayward fighting out of it, though.
He's tough as nails.
Look at Hayward come back after absorbing another body blow. Maybe your most entertaining round so far of this fight. And he has Kooner against the ropes, maybe more of a little bit of a loss of balance, but Hayward trying to bring it.
I'll tell you, he's coming on here, and you got to give him credit. He's going to win this round, and he's pushing Andrew Kooner around right now.
And the fans appreciate it. Hayward bringing everything he can now. Kooner trying to stay within himself. There's a right hand. And Hayward with a combination.
And he's pushing Kooner back, and like most fighters, Kooner can't fight effectively going backwards. He's slipping some shots along the ropes here, but...
So Jason Hayward with a terrific round.
Well, we got something happening here now, Dan.
We'll have round 6 for you when we come back. You're watching a Night of Champions on Eastlink Television. So Jason Hayward coming out of nowhere in round 5.
It's a terrific round, and I don't know if he can win the fight, but to come back from those first 4 rounds, really tough rounds, and take the fight to Andrew Kooner, push him around, and I think win that round. The fans here appreciate it, we appreciate it, and it's a real show of courage from Jason Hayward.
And really, that's been the best round of the night, I would say. And you're right, the fans really did liven up when they saw what Hayward brought to the party in round 5.
Big right hand from Kooner, and I think that's the fight.
Hayward trying to gather himself after a punishing right hand. Referee Hubert Earls, decision time.
Very carefully here. He's going to let it go, but I'll tell you, I'm not sure that he should have let it go there. I think that's the beginning of the end.
Hayward, he's game. Kooner went down to a knee on a slip.
He's really hurt, and he's fighting back.
Jason Hayward, regardless what happens, he's really shown something here in the last round and a half.
That was a terrific right hand from Kooner, and Hayward pulled himself to his feet at 9.5, just barely made it up.
And a wobbly pulling himself to his feet at that. Kooner teeing off a bit now.
You see that, another devastating body shot in the middle of that sequence, and he's down again.
Hayward pops right back up.
Now, Hayward's corner almost threw in the towel there, by the way. They were up on the ring apron ready to give it up, but he's not ready to quit.
You could see him shaking his head. Yeah, I'm good to go.
But we've got a long way to go. We're just halfway through this round. And
big right hand to start from Kooner.
Hubert Earls got to protect him here as well. Brave fighters are the ones who get hurt. And he's going to have to watch this very carefully. I know there's a title on the line, and I know this kid's fighting his heart out, but we don't want anything terrible to happen to him here, and he is taking a beating right now.
Landed a punch of his own that time.
I just don't think he's got the firepower, Dan, to get back in this with a lucky shot.
Yeah, you could see it right there, couldn't you, as he tried to land that right. There wasn't much behind it. Not the case for Kooner.
He turned his back there. He's hurt again.
Could be trouble now. Kooner unloading in the corner. Look at Hayward counterpunching.
Hubert Earl's watching this very carefully, this sequence, and Hayward trying to punch his way out of there.
Hayward showing great heart. Kooner still showing a terrific skill. Kooner not forgetting about the body.
Hayward came back and clipped him with a pretty good right hand and stunned Kooner a little bit. Kooner might have punched himself out a little bit in that sequence. Needs to get his wind back.
And again, Hayward lasting at least until the end of the round.
Now, they've waived the 3 knockdown rule. Remember, the fight would have been over if the 3 knockdown rule had been in effect here, but that rule has been waived, so.
Hey, come to me. How you doing?
And that will conclude with Hayward at the end of the count. The bell goes. So we're through 6 rounds. The last 2 have been terrific. You're watching Eastlink Television, the Maritime's #1 sports channel. Take a look at 2 of the Kooner knockdowns in the round.
This was a brutal, brutal round, and one of the guttiest performances I've seen in a long time by Jason Hayward to get back up after these 2 knockdowns and to continue fighting. It's almost unbelievable. You know, Hubert Earl went over to the referee, went over to Hayward's corner between rounds, and Hayward shook him off, and Hubert Earl came out. We've seen a lot of fights. Just came away from the corner with a smile on his face, just shaking his head. And I can't believe how tough this kid is.
And Hubert Earl has seen a lot in his time. It's Kooner going to the body to start this 7th round. Been the best fight so far. Still another to go. The main event, Jason Notorious Nogler looking to defend his light heavyweight championship against Bella Ramadan.
And there's Hayward back punching, trying to lead the fight. Kooner slipped a little bit there.
Throwing a bit of a wild left hand that time was Kooner. Hayward with the left.
Oh, right lead, right on the button. Hayward shakes it off, but it was a good shot. And you see where his hands are trying to protect his body now.
Jason Too Sweet Hayward showing his toughness, if nothing else at this point, as Kooner probably thought he had this thing finished a half dozen times. And Hubert Earl warning him for the low blows.
Now that's going to happen if a fighter commits to a body attack the way Kooner has. I thought it was a borderline punch.
Kooner snuck an uppercut through there that time.
4-punch combination, again, rocked Hayward back. It's just heart alone here that's keeping him up. Hubert Earl's got to look very closely here. Left hook. And
another knockdown.
5, 6.
And I don't think, if it's up to Hayward, this thing will go all night.
You know, in Hayward's corner, they're looking him in the eye here saying, you want to go on, son? And they were ready to stop the fight. And look at him running back across the ring at Kooner.
Not much underneath him, and as he's knocked down again, that's it.
That's a slip. That's a slip. He stepped on his foot.
See the legs kind of rubbery as he was heading toward him. And back to the body goes Kooner. Those combinations from Kooner are still pretty crisp.
Oh, another wicked body shot.
To the body, end of the head.
Just, it's teeing off here, and again, they're going to have to watch Hayward. His corner's going to have to think about this as well.
And he really can't put anything behind his punches right now.
He can't. He's so far behind on points now. He can't win this fight on points. He doesn't look like he has the power to knock Andrew Kooner out. So at some point, you got to make a decision.
Inside 10 seconds to go in the round. Hayward again. Looks like he's going to get out of it and live to fight another round, perhaps. How did you see that round?
That's a 10-8 round because of the knockdown. And again, let's watch Hayward's corner here because they're going to be asking him some tough questions, and he's just not going to quit. I think it's over. I think this fight's
Okay, listen.
Let's listen here.
Listen. Okay, as long as you can move, I'm not going to worry about it. Show me you're good. Here, suck it up. Deep breath. Okay.
the fight in his corner, and Hayward would not let him.
I'm stopping him. Tie him up. Okay? You don't have to be taking it. You got to tie him up on those ropes. You know what I mean? Get your strength back.
The fighters are a special breed, are they not?
They sure are. So are Newfoundlanders, though. I'm biased.
Well, we know that. We knew that before tonight's card got underway. And Kooner just relentless to the body.
And beautiful technique, beautiful form there. All of his punches are in balance.
Exactly.
Getting maximum leverage. He's just fought a beautiful fight.
Everything behind those punches from Andrew Kooner's edging closer to winning the Canadian Bantamweight Championship. As we are in round 8 of 10, as you see.
Now Hayward trying to tie him up here, which is something he hasn't done in this fight when he's been hurt. Is what something his corner asked him to do between rounds. Is hold the guy, do something, try and give yourself a break.
More the same from Kooner to start the 8th round. Yeah, we didn't see that out of Hayward the first 7 rounds, but
no, he could have saved himself some grief if he'd done a little bit more of it. But you know, he's anxious to prove that he was in the fight and that he was still punching back.
Well, he's certainly helping give the fans their money's worth tonight. Kooner with a terrific boxing exhibition, and Hayward with some great heart. And he snuck some punches in there, too, midway through this fight.
He has. I just don't. There's a low blow from Kooner that Hubert Earl missed. That could have cost Kooner a point after the 2 warnings.
Kooner with a left there as he was in tight. Oh, good right hand there. And against the ropes goes Hayward. Still that left hand low. He can't defend very much at all now.
No, he can't, and he's... Say there is such a thing as being too tough for your own good, and we may be seeing it here right now.
Hayward with a couple of short shots there. A little blood coming out of the nose of Jason Hayward now. Oh. Shot to the back of the head.
I think he's ruling that a slip. He did get caught with a shot to the back of the head, and he's stopping the fight.
Let's go.
So that's it.
He has stopped the fight. There's a funny ending.
And a great one for Andrew Singh Kooner, who is the new Canadian Bantamweight champion. So in the 8th round, Hubert Earl stopping it, and you looked at it several different angles. Tonight, Kooner could have won this fight right from the get-go, as he was really relentless, showing terrific form. Stephen Brunt has moved to the ring, and he will interview Andrew Singh Kooner when we get the opportunity. Take a look at what led up to the TKO. And really, at that point, Hayward, but look at the heart. He's still trying to counter. But Kooner in the same form in the 8th round as he was in the 1st round, as Stephen Brunt said, lots behind those punches. And Hayward, I'll tell you, I bet if we had a vote for the most popular fighter here tonight so far, it would be him. However, Andrew Singh Kooner improves to 8-1. His corner is jubilant. Here's promoter Lawrence Fuller. Jason Hayward, so showing tremendous heart. How he can stand at this point. And that's not an exaggeration. He took so many shots to the body throughout the fight. Then later on, Kooner would work to the head. Referee Hubert Earl, knowing that he's seen something special out of Hayward. And out of Andrew Singh Kooner as well, who, if tonight is an indication, certainly has a bright future. The former 10-time Canadian champ and 2-time Olympian. Let's go up to the ring. Here is Cecil Wright.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Hayward stops the bout at 2 minutes, 31 seconds of the 8th round. The winner by technical knockout and new Canadian bantamweight champion, Andrew Singh Kooner.
So Andrew Singh Kooner, officially now the Canadian bantamweight champion with the belt around his waist. He joins Stephen Brunt in the ring. Let's go to Steve.
Andrew Singh Kooner, the new Canadian champion. Congratulations. You ever fought a tougher guy than that?
To be honest, I knew he was going to be tough. I've known him from the amateurs back in the day, so I knew he was tough. Every guy that steps in the ring, you got to give them credit. Tough sport. I knew he was going to be tough, but I came to do a 12-round fight, if necessary, 10 rounds, whatever. That's how hard we work in the gym.
Now, you came in with an obvious game plan to work the body and then work your way up. You executed it beautifully. I wonder, was that based on what you knew of him from before, or is this the Andrew Kooner of the professional Andrew Kooner?
Well, you know what? I leave that up to my coach, Chris Johnson, and the rest of the team, Fighting Alliance. They watch the tapes and they formulate a game plan for me, and I'm just the robot that goes in there and does it. But I want to dedicate this fight to a friend of ours that passed away a week ago. He was a true warrior, a really good friend of ours, one of the strongest guys you ever meet. So I dedicate this to you, Thomas. We love you, buddy.
Rest in peace, baby boy.
Now, Andrew, what's next for you? Are you going to be back fighting in England? Are we going to see you back in Canada soon? I think a lot of people here would like to see you back on this side of the pond.
Oh, I'd love to fight in Canada. My promoter, Adam Harris, with Hennessy Sports, they have something lined up for me already next month, so they're keeping me busy to see the potential that I have. And as long as I stay in the gym and I keep listening to what my trainers say, I'm sure I'm going to be doing really well. I'm just getting a little bit better each and every time.
Well, congratulations again. Hope to see you soon. And Dan, back to you.
Thank you very much.
Steve and Andrew, thank you. We'll take a quick break. Here from Andrew Singh Kooner, and we're going to look at 3 of his knockdowns here.
Well, that was kind of an accumulation of punches, an accumulation of punishment. Jason Hayward took a tremendous amount of punishment in this fight. That's the one I didn't think he was going to get up from, that right hand. And he fought a game fight. That fight could have been stopped 2 or 3 times, and I don't think anybody in this building would have complained, but Jason Hayward didn't want to. This was his shot. This was potentially his last professional fight. He had a championship on the line, and he did not want to quit. You got to give him a tremendous amount of credit for that. But I'll tell you, Andrew Singh Kooner looks like a very polished, after 9 professional fights, he looks like a very polished professional. He executed a game plan that his corner laid out for him, that Chris Johnson laid out for him. That was textbook stuff. And as much as we salute the tough guy in the other corner, Andrew Singh Kooner's full marks and a very, very impressive win and a worthy champion.
And still one more title fight to go as Jason Nogler tries to defend his Canadian light heavyweight championship against Abdullah Ramadan, right here on Eastlink Television. And you do have to wonder, as Kooner continues to try to go to the lower left side, when that will become a factor to make him drop that left hand.